love therapy. I hold everything in until therapy.
Raven was once Disney's most famous child star. Everyone loved her shows and movies, but in reality, things were not as they seemed. Raven was miserable for most of her childhood, and you'll never believe why. Ever since making her debut on The Cosby Show in 1989, Raven's life hasn't always been the easiest. At the time, she was just 3 years old and was put under so much pressure from producers. The reason why she auditioned for the show in the first place was because her family was struggling financially. It was her mother that managed to sign Raven a contract with the show in hopes of her making some extra money to put food on the table. But little did Raven know that this was going to be the beginning of a very long and agonizing acting career. Raven then spoke about her time on the show, saying that she doesn't have a single memory of her acting at that time. She explained that it was during this period that she developed a dissociative disorder. Raven goes on to say that every time she would start acting, her mind would turn pitch black and she would go on autopilot. And right after she would finish for the day, she felt like nothing had ever happened. It was like living as two completely separate people. But as years passed, things became even harder. The show started controlling what she wore, what she said in interviews, the way she acted in public, and even how much she ate. Raven remembers that she started getting body shamed as early as 7 years old. Most people aren't even aware of their bodies and what they eat at such a young age. And Raven was no different. She recalls that she would work hours on end on The Cosby Show. And this would often make her hungry. As far as she remembers, the show always had a table full of quick snacks for actors to eat whenever they took breaks. Raven would also grab snacks when she felt the urge to eat, but as she got older, the producers would keep her from eating. Raven said that she was body shamed by being called too fat and she shouldn't eat in order to look good in front of the cameras. The restrictions got worse for her as time passed. There even came a point where the producers didn't allow her to eat anything on set, not even while she took breaks. Raven said she wasn't even allowed to eat a bagel, no matter how hungry she was. The only time she was allowed to eat was when she was finished acting for the day. Her restrictions on what she could eat and what she could say made it really hard for Raven to find her true self. And when she turned 12, she quickly realized that there was something different about her. She started having mixed feelings about her sexuality and felt she wasn't really attracted to boys. However, just the thought of this scared her. She knew that if she would reveal how she really felt, she would lose her career and fans would turn on her. The thing that convinced her even more to keep quiet about her sexuality was Ellen DeGeneres. When Ellen came out, the media didn't handle it well. Her coming out was portrayed as something scandalous, and she started receiving a tremendous amount of hate. Raven was already dealing with too much pressure in her life and didn't want to go through all the hardships that came with revealing her true self. At the age of 15, she starred in That's So Raven. The show ended up becoming a massive success. With an average of 3 million views per episode, it was even considered Disney Channel's biggest hit back when it aired. Not to forget that it was also around this time when Raven starred in The Cheetah Girls. This made Raven reach new heights of fame. At that point, she was holding a big part of Disney Channel on her shoulders. Disney put on even more restrictions when it came to the way she lived her life on screens. It was almost as if Raven didn't have an identity of her own. Everything felt fabricated. At the peak of her acting career, she also started a relationship with Orlando Brown. She continued staying silent about her sexuality for years to come. But what made things worse, Raven became bottled up in her emotions and found it hard to open up to anyone about anything. Apart from that, she also realized she was very miserable and not where she wanted to be in life. Thankfully, she eventually retired from Disney with no problems or scandals tied to her name. This is pretty rare considering that most Disney stars that left Disney either become prone to addiction or went through a rebellious phase in their life. While struggling with her identity, Raven started relying on food for comfort. This made her gain an extra few pounds. And as you might have guessed it, people began body shaming her all over again. They told her that no one would want to hire her now that she was gaining weight. These comments touched Raven, so she went on an extreme diet where she would only eat low-carb food and exercise excessively. Raven managed to lose over 30 pounds, but it was all for nothing. Just after she lost all that weight, she landed a starring role on ABC's series The State of Georgia. The show loved Raven's acting abilities, but hated the fact that she was skinny. The character that she was portraying was meant to be slightly overweight, and Raven didn't fit that image. Not only was she told to gain all the weight that she had lost back, but she was also required to wear a fat suit until she gained the weight. Raven soon realized that she had enough of the way she was being controlled. She wanted to be able to speak her thoughts and reveal who she truly was behind all these years of faking it. So in 2013, she finally opened up about everything. She revealed that she was proud about her sexuality, and surprisingly, the media didn't take it as bad as she thought. Raven then opened up about dating Miranda Mayday, who is now her wife. Soon after coming out, she became a permanent host of The View. The talk show gave her the freedom to express her emotions and share her thoughts for the first time in her life. But what she would say wasn't perceived really well by the public. Raven would often be too open about her opinions, and this ended up offending people. On one instance, she got too carried away while she was on the Oprah Winfrey Show and said that she didn't want to be labeled as an African American. Raven expressed that she considered herself an American, and that was all. This left fans angry, and she received a lot of hate for what she said. Opening up didn't really seem to work out for Raven. Then in 2022, she left all of it and returned back to acting. She went on to continue acting in season 5 of the That's So Raven spin-off, Raven's Home. But there was one thing that confused fans when it premiered. On the show, Raven has 2 children and does not show any sign of supporting LGBTQ+ community. When asked why, she said that she simply didn't want to mix her private life with her career. She saw them as 2 separate things. Maybe since opening up and talking about herself wasn't working out for her, she probably decided to keep her personal life and opinions private. And it looks like this has been working out for her pretty well. Raven seems like she is in a much better place now and has finally found and accepted her true self. Hopefully things get better for her from this point on. Let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments.